So you're walking through the woods when your DM says that you start to notice some movement in the bushes, but you're the only one that notices it. Why only you? Well, fear not. On today's episode of Nat 1, we'll be taking a look at Shia LaBeouf.
No, Strike. First off, it's an orc. And second off, we're talking about passive abilities.
Oh. Hello everyone, I'm Undead Strife. So passive abilities are when your DM decides that you don't need to make a roll in order to spot that creepy looking orc that's been giving you eyes for the past 5 minutes. If you take a look at the bottom left corner of your character sheet, you'll notice a box for passive perception. The way this works is you add 10 to your perception skill bonus and boom, you've got your passive perception score. Now this isn't restricted to just your perception. All of your skills have passive abilities as well. However, that passive score is mostly used for perception and insight. So you might be thinking, well, if all my abilities have passive scores, why is perception so special and gets its own little box? Perception is considered the most relevant passive skill. It helps your character be aware of that dark hooded figure that's been following you for the last couple of blocks. Or maybe a sudden temperature change in the room that you're currently in. There's also passive insight that's commonly used. Now that's not to say you should rely on your passive abilities. If you still feel like you're not getting all the information, feel free to tell the DM that you'd like to make that roll. You might just get some extra info, or see that everyone is on par with what the DM described, so no harm, no foul. Also, keep in mind that your passive abilities can be affected by advantage and disadvantage just like regular ability rolls. With an advantage, your passive score gains a +5. If it's at a disadvantage, you'll receive a -5 to your score on that check. Honestly, passive abilities can be confusing, but the best way to describe it is when the DM decides that you don't need to make a roll in order to perform an action that would seem simple enough for your character to perform. Just as an example, say your character is a super strong barbarian. You don't have to roll in order to push that boulder out of the way. Your passive strength score shows that you have no problem moving it out. If you're still confused on passive abilities, feel free to discuss with your DM on how they work with passive ability checks. That does it for today's episode. Join us next time as we take a look at Shia LaBeouf.
No, Strike, once again, we're going over something different next time.
Oh. See you next time!